It's the Dev Friday show with Mark and Tim. 'Twas the Dev Friday before Christmas, and that's all you get for $5.
It's all you get for $5, Mark. I know it's not actually the Dev Friday before Christmas, but it's. I think we've established that preparation is not necessarily high on our list here, and that's just what I had from last year. So we're just running with it.
Also, looks like you need to spend a little bit more of your $5 on your lighting, Tim.
Well, you know what? I have the Stream Deck here, and for some reason,
I can barely see. I'm gonna need to flash a light on you or something.
Yeah, it's not seeing my light. And if I hit the button, like it's telling me it can't connect to the thing. So I don't know if maybe the light got a new IP address. Oh, I bet you the light does have a new IP address. I'm trying to think like what happened in the day I was gone before. Well, obviously Thanksgiving, I wasn't up here, so this light normally works. What's with everything not working? Well, see, yesterday I inadvertently turned off all of my network equipment and turned it back on again.
Ooh.
And I'm guessing that recycled everything, and now the IP address of the Elgato is not the same as it was. The key light, it's not the same as it was. And the reason why is I went out to I was taking care of the animals in the morning, and I saw that there was water coming out of my garage door, which
that's not good.
Never a good sign. Never a good sign.
Wow.
And we had just recently got all the plumbing done in a new bathroom that is for the addition that has taken 5 years for us to finally complete and all that kind of fun stuff. And there was water coming out of a stamp pipe that was in the garage. And because there was a clog down the line, because that drain line was not used until we got the bathroom all put together. So I think there was some latent clogs there that, in a day or two of usage, got it all backed up, but put a snake down the line and cleared it. As part of that, the problem is the stamp pipe is right next to all of the networking equipment, and as I was trying to put a bucket in the way to stop it from, to catch the water, I turned off all the networking equipment. So that's probably what happened. That was the start of my Thanksgiving day.
Sounds like a fun home ownership day.
Home ownership, yep.
Something to be grateful for, Tim.
Yeah, I'm grateful that the first time I was able to clear the drain line without requiring professional help. So and especially since it was on Thanksgiving, so that was nice to not have to have a bathroom out of order and all those issues.
So since this is our Black Friday episode, I'm assuming we're going to be talking about all of the fun, cool gifts that we would like to get for Christmas, and we would like to buy for others for Christmas, right?
I mean, if that's what you want to talk about, that works for me. I put all, I do the same amount of prep work every week, and I think we're all familiar with what that is.
But before we get into that, Tim, I do have a serious question to ask you.
This I doubt that's true.
Because, my getting back into Linux, it's been a pleasurable experience.
Okay.
But I hit a huge roadblock this week that I never thought would happen to me. I need you to explain to me why on Pop! OS or Ubuntu, why I cannot play a WAV file.
You can't play a WAV file?
I cannot play a WAV file.
Do you need a special codecs or something for that?
Probably. That's probably the case.
No, but no, WAV file shouldn't be. That MP3 I can see, but
and it's really thrown me off.
Surprising to me.
It's really thrown me off. Okay, because this came up when I was working on some prep for my object-oriented programming class with Pygame, like I've talked to you about many, many times, and doing one of the final kind of preps for the lessons for the semester. And I was using an example that came from the textbook, and I was going to start talking about how to play sounds, which, from a code perspective, it's pretty easy. You just use you load in the sound file with the Pygame, audio libraries, and then you access the play method to play it whenever you want to play the sound, and you're good to go, right? It's super, super simple. I try to do it. It starts throwing errors saying cannot play this file. It's like, okay, what's going on? Is it like a path issue? Cannot find the file? It's like, no, it's not it. It can see the file, but it just gives me this arbitrary error. It says it cannot play the file. And I was like, okay, what is this? So I just, I just do a normal test as a good software developer would do. I go find the file, double click on the file. It's like, can I just play the file? so I can
Can't
see
play
what
the
it's on
file.
site. It gives me this Ubuntu error or Pop! OS error saying cannot access the file. You may need a media codec. So then I go down the media codec rabbit hole of unrestricted content codecs or whatever Ubuntu has. And I tried to install it. I reinstalled, uninstalled Audacity because I am able to save and play WAV files from Audacity.
So
So
you can
that's kind of
play them
interesting.
from Audacity. You just
Yeah, and I
can't
save and
just
just
can't
like
play them at operating
and
system
just like
level.
we do with the show, I export out the file as a WAV file for when we do our podcast here. And so I was like, okay, so I was installing multiple audio players, different libraries. I was trying, somebody has to have a codec. I had to install something that could provide me the codec to play this WAV file. And
I think that's not like even a codec, is it? Like it's a WAV file. That's just how we store audio.
I know this is so basic, and I'm like, I'm just hitting a mental wall with this. I cannot get past this little stupid issue that's like keep me from like, because I do have to talk about in my classes how to play a WAV file in my Pi game programs, but I'm like, and I can't do it, and this is like really really frustrating. It seems like something super basic.
So okay. Can you load import the WAV file into Audacity and play that?
Yes, I could do that. And I should probably, the one last thing I was going to do,
That's
which
crazy.
I need to probably inspect the audio file a little more, but I can't do this right now because I'm recording the show in Audacity. But I should probably inspect it, try to figure out exactly what the codec is that it uses. And maybe it is the specific codec that,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because WAV is like a container format, right? And you could have a
Mhm.
different codec inside of it, I think.
So, and I think what I'm going to do, if I can't get to work, I'm going to have to convert these audio files to something that will work for me. Because I know most of my students are on Windows or the Mac, and they should have no problems with playing these files. But I'm probably going to have to go the extra step and convert these files to another WAV file format that I can play on my computer, which is just kind of annoying because it is this black box with these codecs. The codecs that you can install, because you do have to install these restricted or licensed codecs, as a separate install because it doesn't come by default in Ubuntu or Pop! OS. So it is this extra little step that is kind of like, and I'm not an audiophile like you are, Tim. So I'm kind of, from a codec standpoint, this is kind of foreign land for me. So, but it was just something that was really, really super irritating this week and keep me from finishing up my my prep for my classes because I really want to finish up the semester. This is one of the final things I have to do.
Yeah, I think if I'm not like I don't think I have any problem playing WAV files. So that seems
I think it is a weird codec that this was probably
Yeah.
the author when he was putting the his example files for the book that he used, and I'm just gonna have to convert it. So I think that's probably
Yeah.
my solution. But didn't know if you've ever had any audio issues like that with file formats or codecs.
No, the
with-
only
on-
the only
on
times
Linux.
on Linux that I have is if you don't have those open source codecs like the MP3 codecs installed, you may need to allow them to be installed to actually play those files. No, that's all I got there. But speaking of Black Friday, since we kind of started,
Tis
talking
the
about
season for
Black
Dev
Friday.
Friday, Black Friday.
Yeah. Woot has Surface Go 2s on sale.
Really? What?
And
How much?
I'm considering, well, for I'll pull it up here because I am on a computer. I should be able to do, well, you know what? I don't even know where to find it on Woot, because Woot used to be one deal a day, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now, like Black Friday, I'm clicking. There's so many deals all over the place. That's a Surface 3. Nope, not interested in that one. Surface Go, can't find. I don't even know. I found it through, another site was linking to it. But it's like $229, I think.
Ooh, that's
$229 for the Surface Go 2. Now the thing is, I'm looking at getting for some of the kids, and the Surface Go 2 you can't even get from the Microsoft Store anymore, as far as I can find, because you just get the Surface Go 3. Now the type covers and the pen should all be the same, so that's nice. It's like we get the 2. If we move to a 3 later, that's fine. This is the 4 gig of RAM and 64 gig of storage model is for $229. I think you add another, I want to say, $30, $40 or something to upgrade to the 8 gigabyte, and I guess that's 128 of solids or persistent storage. But the thing that I'm wondering about, and I think I have to contact Microsoft about this to see, is if I buy it, will I be able to add the device coverage to it after the fact? Because I'm not buying it from Microsoft. And I think I can, because I
Yeah,
did
you
that.
can.
My first Surface Pro, I got from a seller on Amazon, right? I got it, and then I just said, hey, I like to add the device protection to it, which they were really nice about. They don't even care. Like, as long as it's within the 30-day window, they're like, sure, go for it. So,
Yeah, any retailer or provider of hardware or services or anything would love to send you or sell you an extra warranty on top for buying their product from wherever they buy it from. I know when
it
I was
definitely seems that
I
way,
know when I
yeah.
was back in the Apple land a long time ago and buying the Apple laptops. I know they gave you up to, I think it was 90 days. I believe it was 90 days. They had like the full warranty as long as you paid for their Apple Safe or Apple support services for the extended year, extended 3 years,
Okay.
whatever plan that you got. You could do it within 90 days, no matter where you bought the computer from, as long as you showed proof of purchase, and then you're
Yep.
fine.
Uh-oh, but it's saying sold out now. Maybe I can't get it. Never
And that
mind.
is something to talk about too. How often do you buy extra warranties on your hardware or the stuff you purchase?
How often do
Because
I?
I like to frequent Best Buy, and they always would love to sell you in a Best Buy Geek Squad extended warranty on anything that you buy. If I buy a pack of batteries, they want to sell me an extended warranty on it. So how often do you actually take advantage of that? I've gotten actually my life has been harmed, physically harmed by buying warranties and the trauma that if I go to and try to take whatever I bought this product that I have the warranty on, take it back to the retailer for warranty support, the harassment and the trouble that I've gotten in the past is really, really scarred me. So for me to actually buy an extended warranty does take a good amount. Now I do see the sense for computers, especially if you're going to be buying it like an iPad or an Android tablet, like you're talking about the Surface Go 2 that you want to give to your kids. They're going to bang it around. They're going to throw it against the wall. They're going to, try to take it apart. If they're like you, then of course I totally understand getting a warranty. But for just a normal user like me, I don't know. I do think twice about getting those extended warranties.
Yeah, okay, so a couple things. A couple things on that. I would never buy, at least I don't think I would ever buy, an extended warranty that's not from the actual hardware vendor, right? So none of these extended warranty on your phone that's covered by some type of insurance company. There's a couple big names in it. I don't even remember the names, but like you'll see them. You're like, oh, I think one has trade in it or something like that, and I don't know. You'll see them. You'll see them, especially if you buy something through Amazon or like you say, or Best Buy. Like, oh, do you want to put a warranty on this phone? And it's not from the device manufacturer, it's from this insurance company. And there
Hmm.
you've got to be really careful that you look at what it says they're going to replace, because there'll be accidental protection, all that kind of fun stuff. But the max liability many times is the value of the device. So if you
Hmm.
end up, say, doing a repair on it that costs so much, and then the device is totaled because of some other accident, technically it's still protected for accidental protection, but you've used up all of the value of it. They won't put any more money in it than what you paid for the thing, so you're not going to get a replacement anymore. That I've never liked dealing with that, and I feel like that's the experiences you're talking about,
Yeah,
where
take
it's
it back.
like you got to go back to some warranty vendor, not the device manufacturer, and those I would avoid every single time.
Yeah, because they take you, you go to, go back to the place you bought it from. And like I said, they are using a third party service. And then they're going to ask you a series of questions. They're going to have to go through their own inspection, which is going to take a week. And then they may come back saying, oh, no, it didn't really fall into this warranty. Or they may have to send it away, which could take another
Oh
three,
my,
4 weeks.
yes. Yes.
And it's like, I bought the warranty for you. You guys have your own Geek Squad. You guys have your own techs in house. Just figure it out within the day. And if you can't fix it, give me a replacement. And no, you do not. That does not happen.
But when it comes to a warranty from the device manufacturer, and it's something that
Mhm.
that's business critical for me,
Yeah.
then definitely. Like
Yeah.
I buy it on my laptops, especially the device protection from Microsoft. I forget how it works, but and I don't remember if it's I don't know if it's because I get like the 4 year on my devices, and those um, are what do they'll cross ship it to you. So
Mhm.
if you get like a cracked screen or something that's going to need the device to go in, they'll ship you another one and you just ship back yours.
Yeah.
And I have done that with my other Surface. I did that I think twice because of issues with it. Um, and that was great for me because if it's still usable enough, like it's like, well, I can kind of get it. It's useful, but this is it's a problem. Maybe I forget what the last problem I had with the Surface. It was like some weird power issue or something like that. Sometimes it would turn on, and as long as it was always on and connected, it wouldn't, there wouldn't be an issue. But if it lost power, I unplugged it and then plugged it back in. I'd have to go through this weird cycle where I hold it down and cycle the power. So it was just an inconvenience. But as long as I was using it, it was fine. So I just kept and used it until I got the replacement. So that cross shipping to me is huge, because then you're not waiting like a week and a half to get back a device that you expect to use every day. So for that, I would totally get it. And if I'm getting Surfaces for the kids, I'd totally get it.
I totally agree with that. Yeah.
But as long as I can buy it from the device manufacturer, because the device manufacturer, they want you to buy another device, right? The warranty company just doesn't. They don't care. They got your money. They may want you. Yeah, I know they're incentivized for you to buy a warranty on them again, but it's just different, right? Because you realize the warranty company has a different cost for repair than the device manufacturer. Microsoft, I think, can be a lot looser and be like, sure, we'll fix it again, because it would, like, they're the manufacturer. It's not like they have to. They're getting their own parts. It's so yeah. When I can buy it from the manufacturer, that's where I buy it. I would never go with the third party warranty. So, but here's the deal. Here's the deal. Because I know you this is a Surface Go 2. That's what you're using, right?
It's not, but you're talking about just the tablet Surface Go.
Oh,
right?
you're talking about
I use the Surface Go laptop.
That's right.
Too,
that's
which
right.
I am waiting for Microsoft to release another version of that, because I do love it. I just wish it was just a little bit faster. Mostly for memory. It's limited at 8 gigabytes. I would love if they could release a 16 gigabyte version. Even if it was the same CPU speed, I'd buy it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So they're 229 for the 4 gig, like I said, and 64 gig of storage. 309 for the 8 gig with 128. And like, I know the Surface Go 3 tablet starts, I think it starts at, is it $399 from the store, or is it $499 from the store? I don't even remember now. So a decent savings. And if I can get the warranty on it, I think it makes a lot of sense. So we will see if they sell out before I get those answers.
And this was one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today, Tim, because I was going to give you my Christmas list for you to think about.
Just for me to consider. Okay.
Yeah, for you to consider. For your consideration for this holiday season.
Sure.
Because like I said, I love my Surface Go laptop too, especially running on Pop OS. It's been a dream. And as I talked about last week, now that I've discovered JetBrains IDEs work great on Linux and using it. It's so fast. I'm loving this experience. And I would love if Microsoft would release their next version. I don't know why they seem to be a little bit slow to not, because
they're building a bunch of other ones. That's the thing, right? They got the Surface Studio laptop now as the last one to come out.
Maybe the Surface Go laptop, like the market for that is very small. I don't know. Maybe like not as many people buy that compared to the other laptops they make, and then the tablets. But if I could buy another laptop as an upgrade, forward, because of the performance, the memory, and just maybe even the larger screen. Have you seen the HP Dev 1?
I have heard about it. Yes, the HP Dev 1.
And it's interesting. I would never consider buying another HP laptop. I had one a long, long time ago that ran Windows, and it was okay. It was just bulky and chunky and kind of slow. And I don't think I would ever consider buying another HP laptop. But I saw this on YouTube because one of the YouTube channels I follow.
OS?
It was a collaboration between System 76 and HP. And so I'm not sure if HP, I think System 76 designed it and then HP built it, I believe. I think that's the collaboration standpoint. And it does run Pop OS. So it's designed for Pop OS. And if I look at the specs, it's really, really good. And then it only costs, the base is like $1,100. And so it has like it runs like a Ryzen 7 Pro, 8-core. It does come with 16 gigabytes of memory out of the box. It has an SSD or MM2 slot of a terabyte. So it's like all these initial specs, and a 14-inch screen is great, and it looks really light, and the build quality looks really, really good. So I don't know. I don't think I'm going to pull the trigger this month, but I'm definitely going into next year when I'm going to be looking to upgrade my laptop, I might seriously consider this.
The thing I'm finding most interesting about this is all of the screenshots they have on are just like models of the laptop showing off Pop OS.
Mm-hmm.
At least on their main page here, there's nothing that kind of gives me a multi-view of the actual physical device. It's all the same. Like I want to see like the twirly thing with the laptop. Show me how it looks.
You have a little spin around?
Yeah, something. And it's all like the same shot of the laptop, just with telling me all the things that Pop OS can do. And it's like, well, okay, I kind of know what Pop OS does. I thought you're trying to sell me on a laptop here.
Well, I agree with you. It does need a little bit sexier marketing on the page of actually about the hardware. But if you watch one of the YouTube channels like the tech channels that do hardware reviews, they kind of do show some close-ups of it. They even take it apart and look at the internals and see how it's built.
Oh yeah, nice.
So it looks pretty good. And like I said, it looks almost like if you had like a well-built Apple Mac laptop, which that was what they're known for, building really good quality hardware and really well-built laptops. It kind of looks like that. It looks like it's really, really well built, but it has good specs and it runs Linux, or it's designed for Linux. And
all right, all the way to the bottom, I see a couple of things that are actually very difficult for to scroll around in, but I'll give them this. Like I can't click on this. This is a UI nightmare. You should do it. You should do a case study on how terrible this UI is. I have to actually be in. Oh, it's that silly thing where you're scrolling but you're not scrolling. Like
you're scrolling but you're not scrolling.
Yeah. I'm like in a section of the page. I've scrolled all the way down to this thing. And now the scrolling stops, but it makes me go through like these four different kind of concepts. So I'm technically scrolling, but I'm not, and I have to scroll a while before it actually changes. I do,
and this is something actually I do teach because I teach single page website design, and it looks like it's using
it can be done well, but
it looks like
done not well.
It's using basically two sets of navigation. You have your main navigation that basically controls the scrolling within the page, but then within the sections of the page, it has like an inner scrolling mechanism.
Yep.
To do that. So it is very not intuitive because you don't know where to really scroll or put your cursor.
Yeah, it's painful. So now I see. Wait, what? Now I'm so confused. There's more. I can't do this at all. Keep coding. No, that's not going to help me. I had a place, and okay. So plenty of ports. They've got this thing, and it looks decent. It looks like they got 2 USB ports, 2 USB-C ports, HDMI out. That might be a display out, a headphone out, power in. Kind of feels like it's borrowing the shape from the MacBook Airs a little bit. Like it's got a bit of a tapered look to it there.
Plus,
it got
it also has
a
a nub,
trackpad in the middle.
It has a nub. Remember those nubs from the ThinkPads?
So there's people that still buy the ThinkPad. They're not ThinkPads
just
anymore.
for the nub. I know the little eraser nub.
Yeah.
And so it has that. It would be so fun to go back to that as an interface too. I'm like, oh,
you say back to that. I'm saying people are still buying laptops from Lenovo.
Well, it's been a while since I've been back to it, so it'd be fun to go back to that type of tracking interface. And it looks like it's positioned well around your home row, so you can just kind of use your index finger while you're typing. It's a different
position though, because they're taking a chunk out of the B, the G, and the H keys.
Yeah, I know. It looks
to put it in there. That's I feel like that might get some used to. Take some getting used to is what I'm trying to say. I don't know. I feel like you may have to get used to typing on that keyboard. But so this might be.
I think this is going to be, unless Microsoft releases another version of the Surface Go 2 laptop that is maybe a tad bit larger screen, definitely more memory. Yeah, I'm definitely seriously looking at this to pick this up.
Watch Microsoft release a Pop OS.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Wouldn't that be something else? So.
Yep. So what's on your Christmas list, Tim? What are you shopping? What are you shopping for? No,
I just want to get this straight. Your entire list that you wanted to share with me, just for my consideration, is $1,000 laptop that you're just like, let me just tell you what might be on my Christmas list.
I'm trying to be a good co-host and make this podcast a collaborative experience for everyone.
Oh, so you have more on your list?
Oh, I do have more, but I'm trying to do a little. I'm bouncing the ball back to you, Tim.
Okay. I feel like just yesterday I said something like, "Oh, I should put that on my Christmas list." Oh no, that's something else. We'll talk about that later. That's for our other podcast. Oh. The one that you have opined about on Twitter. I don't know. Now you threw me for a loop because I'm thinking I'm going to get a couple of these Surface Go's for school for the kids, but um, on the tech list type of things, I really don't know. I mean, the one
Well,
thing I've looked
one thing
at and would
one thing
definitely
you've given out before, and I'm definitely thinking
okay
about, because I don't think
okay.
anybody's going to buy this for me. At least my wife's not probably going to be second know
My
what it is.
wife's not going to
Is
buy.
buying a set of Yubico keys.
Okay,
Because
those
I guess
yeah.
I definitely kind of want to get into it. I've been hearing more about it, especially as me. I'm getting more into security, and I've always been in
And
security and privacy.
less
But
into telling people what credit cards you have on a podcast. More into
but
security,
providing a better
less of that,
security
less of that.
infrastructure around me. And so using the Yubico keys as a way to lock my computer, plug it in, have it turned on, especially because with my Surface Go 2 laptop, the one nice feature that they have that I cannot access on Pop! OS is the fingerprint reader, which
You can't get the fingerprint reader. They
unless
don't
I
have
dig
drivers
into,
for it or something.
I could probably do a little bit more digging around, maybe somebody, but by default, Pop! OS does not provide support for that because maybe it's a
Gotcha.
very hardware specific thing just for that laptop. So that is a nice feature that they had with Windows. My daughter has a Surface Go laptop too that she loves the fingerprint reader. Just be able to kind of put your fingerprint on there and be able to log in. So since I don't have that and I'm still using this laptop, having a key that I could unlock it would be a nice feature to have. So what has been your experience with using the Yubico keys? One thing I heard too is like if you're going to buy one, buy two or three, and make sure you kind of all kind of assign those keys to the same account. So if you lose one key, you have a backup.
I mean, that's a good practice, but at the same time, it's like I don't know many places. Well, unless you're using it to log into your computer,
Which I would be, yeah.
At
Yeah.
this point, I don't use my YubiKey for that.
Okay.
But I don't know of many places where there's not a way to reset your second factor or your multi-factor. Where if you lose it, you're like, oh, I lost it and I can't request. But it may be a painful process. But yeah, I definitely make it back.
Well, are there different levels of security set up with this where like if I just want to have basically the authentication just be just on the key and not have a backup, like would that be a higher level of security in a sense where there's isn't like somebody hacked my Yubico account or whatever that they could get into it and get access to the keys or not? I don't, like I said, I don't know much about the systems.
It's not. It's not about having a Yubico account or anything like that. It's what the key provides. So it's all on the key. So
But how does like a second authentication, like a multi-factor authentication, how does that work with that then? So if I could have a phone number or an app,
well, no,
also...
that's your multi-factor right now. Now, if you're logging in with your computer with that, I don't know if it lets you do that without a password. But like say if I'm logging into GitHub will be like, hey, you need to provide another factor of authentication. Stick your key in your USB slot, and that's how I prove that I'm me. Or or we can send you a code, or you can use if you have like Google. What I like about it, well, I've not leveraged this completely, but I've used Google Authenticator or one of those time-based one-time password apps on my phone. YubiKey has that as well, but it puts all the seeds on the YubiKey. So all you have to do is have the Authenticator app running on your phone, and then if you have one of the NFC YubiKeys, just put it to the back of your phone, and now you have all of your one-time passwords. So when you say lose your phone, you don't have to transfer all of those keys again or reset up all those keys. It's on your physical key. So you just install the app again, touch the key, boom, you have access to them. Because the one thing the key can't do, the key doesn't have a clock, so it can't provide the code in itself. It needs to just provide the seeds to the software that has the clock to do the math to create the temporary one-time code.
A little side to this, because I did actually, this is another thing I faced with this week, because I actually had to reset my Android phone. It was just starting to act funny with, I don't know, just doing some weird things. So I like to do something, do little, fall cleaning, reset my devices every now. So since I have two phones, I have an iPhone and an Android phone, I just reset it and then use my iPhone for, to communicate for a day or two as I was resetting my Android, get all the apps installed. The nice thing, I used to use Google Authenticator. And I used to have it on both phones and be able to scan the QR code and make sure I could have it basically two places, because I don't want to have just one device where basically all my authentication, multi-factor authentication accounts were set up on. I switched over to the Microsoft apps because they provide a way to sync it with your Microsoft account, which I don't know. If this also could provide a security hole, but it worked super nice. All I just had to do was just install the Microsoft app, and then on the reset Android phone, and then just log in with my Microsoft account, and then it reload all of my multi-factor accounts within that. And so I was like, oh, good. I don't have to like spend the time to reset this up and go one by one and scan the QR code of the app anymore. With Google Authenticator, that's what I did have to do. But I don't know if they changed that, or now you could sync it between different devices. But
I don't think they did, because I think that's what they want you to. I mean, I'm not saying like that's what they want you to have to do, but that idea of scanning the QR code to actually export it, I think that's what they want, because the idea is the seeds for your one-time passwords shouldn't be stored. Those are the actual secrets, so you don't.
So
want
if
them
somebody
anywhere
could
else.
hack my Microsoft account and log in and authenticate on their phone with their Microsoft Authenticator app, they could basically get all of my. Yeah, so that's the downside of that.
Because if it's stored in like OneDrive or something like that, if your OneDrive is compromised, then that is. But that's the same thing. Technically, if you use a password manager, that is exactly the same thing. You know, if you're using OnePass, or I use Bitwarden, or did I just say that? Did I just tell people what password manager I use?
Not good, Tim. You're gonna be a target.
Or like Mark, if you use LastPass.
LastPass. That's a great name of an app. Is that actually a real app?
Yeah, LastPass. Yeah.
Oh, LastPass.
Because it's the last password you're ever going to need to know, because it's the password manager. Yeah, so
I never used that before.
Yeah. You're doing a good job making people think that's not your main password manager. I like that. I like that. But any of those, sure, they're storing the encrypted data, and I'm guessing. Well, I don't know. For your for when you installed the Microsoft app, did you have to provide some type of public passphrase or something? Or
I just had to authenticate on like what Microsoft uses, like a secondary authentication itself. So I had, I'd either log into another computer or my other device, my iPhone, which I have it installed. I just had to prove I was me on another device. Because I have multi-factor authentication set up there. Yeah. So in order for me to set up the Microsoft Authenticator app, I had to just prove through another device that I am who I am, say I am. So
yeah, like password managers, obviously that big long passphrase that you should have when you log in is the thing that decrypts your passwords. And so even if your account is in theory compromised, it's not like they need to know that passphrase. It's not like they could just somehow get access to the data. And that's the two different type of compromises, right? Yeah, sure. If your Microsoft account is compromised, then your one-time passwords, your Authenticator app, anybody can get access to, because they have your username and password, and maybe they have your phone. Like in that case, they may have to prove who you are. But the bigger concern is, what if Microsoft has a breach? Is your data just gone? And in this case, it seems like it might be, because the only thing that they have in front of it is your login. And you verifying that you are who you say you are, versus a password manager where it is your passphrase that should be decrypting it. So someone could go and steal all of the data from your password manager's hosting, and in theory not be able to get to your passwords because they don't know what your passphrase. They would need to also know that too. So this feels like whatever Microsoft's doing puts you at risk in different ways than a password manager.
It was super convenient this week though, Tim, but that is the balance, right? It's a
Ben
trade-off.
Franklin said, those who trade the convenience of a password manager. Wait, no, is it the secure? I don't know. Ben Franklin said something about exactly this with technology. I'm pretty sure.
I'm sure Ben Franklin has his own Yubico key back in the day too.
He did. Yeah, yeah. That's what people don't know this, but that's what it was at the end of the kite. It was a Yubico key. And that's actually why he survived, because there's got some plastic around that, and it just didn't conduct the electricity as well as metal would have, and it just gave him a little shock as opposed to what he would have normally gotten if it was a metal key, like most of the history books say. But that's not true at all. It was totally a plastic key. So there you go, kids. Now you've learned.
Did you think of anything that could be on your list, or did I just keep running off my list?
I was supposed to be thinking during that time. I missed it again. Well, an ad for something that I see that I'm totally not going to buy for myself. Is that kind of what we qualify this as?
Could be, yeah.
But the problem is, it's not a tech thing. I mean, everything's technology, right? Like it continues to grow, and we.
Does it help your developer life? Does it make
no? I'm really interested in the pizza ovens.
Pizza ovens,
okay. I think it's
does it have an app?
Like that.
Is it?
I don't
Could you
think it has an
track your
app.
pizza
No,
cooking with
I
an
don't
app?
think it has an app. I don't think it has an app. But it seems like it uses a bunch of different fuel. What I can tell, you can use wood, you can use charcoal, and if you get a little insert, you can use gas too. And it's
Is it
just.
one of those ones that is it a fully enclosed pizza oven, or is it one
Mhm.
that's like those spinning ones that kind of heat a part of it as it's kind of spinning around? Have you seen those weird ones where
No,
like it only heats up maybe like a
no.
slice of your pie at one time
Now
as the pie's like slowly moving around?
I want to see this. I don't want to buy it, but I want to see this now. Look,
You've
it's
seen them
a,
on- just
carousel.
go to-
It's a pizza carousel.
Yeah, just go to Amazon and look up like pizza oven or something like that. It's like the pizza is exposed except for like I don't know, less than a third of the pizza is being heated at one time, and as it's kind of spinning around.
This is like a wedge heater or something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. So,
No,
I
it's
don't
not
know.
one of those. No, it's an act. It's one of those outside pizza ovens, and you slide it in. It's got a stone in the bottom. Supposed to get up to
Yeah.
like 900 degrees. Cook your pizza in a minute or two, 60 seconds, something like that.
Wow.
So
All right.
I'm just fascinated. I'm not going to get it, but like I'm.
Well, I am a
fascinated
big
with
I'm a
those
big
type
supporter of
things.
the stone layer for cooking pizza on.
Oh, yeah?
You use that
Yeah?
before? That works really, really nice. Yeah. So if you have a good hot stone, even if you just
Yeah.
buy just a simple pizza stone, you could buy anywhere and use that. It does a nice job.
Still, your ovens can't get up to the heat that you would for that really quick.
Oh, true.
Really quick
True.
cook. But I agree. Yeah, putting it on a stone.
Well, if you preheat the stone too, you have to
Oh, yeah, you have to
takes
preheat the stone.
It's not something done. You're right. It's not something to do that would give you a quick pizza. It's something you have to kind of plan out a little bit. But if you preheat the stone and have them lay on top of it, it works nice.
I used to do pizzas on the grill all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes we put a stone on top of the grill so get it nice and hot.
Yep.
And that's helpful too because as soon as you open up the grill, you let out a lot of the ambient heat, but your stone should still be hot. So you put the crust in that cooks through. You close the lid, and then you get the convection heat to melt the cheese. And I'm not sure this doesn't sound like the tech podcast anymore, but that's okay.
Well,
But
if you want to
but
get
tech gifts, I'm at a loss. What's next on your list?
well, the next one is: have you ever heard about the rubber ducky, Tim?
Like rubber ducking.
No, not rubber ducking. And you told me what rubber ducking is when it comes
Yeah,
to
it's basically
project
Yeah.
problem solving.
Yeah, and it's like
Talk
Stack
to your rubber
Overflow.
duck.
Yeah, you just like if how many times do you type the question into Stack Overflow and before you hit post you realize what the answer is just because you were typing it out and trying to explain it to a wide audience. You're like, well, let me talk about how I tried this and how I tried that, and let me talk about. Oh, there it is. And that's how you figure out your problem. It's
Yeah.
like you just walk through it like you're trying to explain it to somebody else, and then you go no, now I see where the problem is. No, but what's the rubber
So the
duck?
USB rubber ducky.
What now?
It's a USB drive, small USB
Okay.
drive,
Okay.
that's designed to be a hacking tool.
Oh, okay. So
So basically, if you go to not any computer, but it would actually be interesting to test this on any computer. You just plug it in, and then it has pre-configured scripts that would basically the computer would think it would be like another type of device, let's say a keyboard device or an
Right.
audio device.
yeah.
And then it would give access to system level access that then it could basically run scripts automatically on the computer to take over the computer. So if you want to have like a keystroke logger, or you want to have some scripts that would run some programs and then download or kind of transfer data from the computer to the USB key, you could automatically do it. So it's this tool provided by Hack5. I don't know if you've gone to like hack5.org.
No, I'm not going to go there now. It's going to take over my computer.
No, it's not going to. They're mostly just trying to sell you like hacker tools. So it's interesting. I saw this once again on a YouTube kind of security channel. They were kind of talking about it, and not to say I want to do anything nefarious with it, but it would be something kind of fun.
You wouldn't want to do anything.
It would be fun to kind of, as I'm going around my campus's computers, kind of plug it in, kind of see what could actually be done with it, and just kind of do a little bit of testing. It's not that expensive. It's only $60, so it is backward right now, so I can't really get it. But it would be a fun thing to experiment with. They also have their own scripting language kind of or platform built into it too. So if you want to automatically script what's going to happen once the USB key gets plugged into the computer, you can basically develop that, with their scripting platform. So it gives you kind of a nice kind of developer interface for it.
Yeah,
so this
it's
it's definitely on my list of things to play with. Yeah.
Wi-Fi, the pineapples to interfere with routers and try to. Oh, I see the USB rubber ducky.
Yeah.
flash drive that types keystroke injection payloads into unsuspecting computers at incredible speeds.
Sounds
Look at
fun.
this. A core. They got a quad-core Linux box on USB stick, mimicking multiple trusted devices. Look at that. This is very interesting. Did you ever see the USB key that'll kill your computer?
No. What's that called?
I don't know, but it's there's definitely been ones in
So
outside of just
if your
testing.
house is getting taken down by the FBI, you just jam these USB keys in your
Basically,
computer,
yeah.
and they'll basically just
Yeah.
fry them.
Yeah, it uses a capacitor and the 5 volts to slowly charge.
Oh,
up a
really?
Q
So
charge
it
and then
really
just
does physically
hit the mother. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice.
It blows out the motherboard. So it is it. Yeah, that's right. Kids, don't just stick USB drives.
Yeah, especially when you just kind of find laying around the street, in your local Walmart.
The thing that is not the thing.
Don't just look at that USB key as a free USB key. You just found you found like $1 on the street.
I feel like this is things that they say in like, oh, what do I want to say? When you're going through those compliance courses at work, and you're like, you're not supposed to pick something. You found that USB key in the parking lot. Don't stick it in your computer. And you're like, but why would have? Who's gonna? I guess somebody might have done that, but no, please don't do that. Please don't do that. But yeah, you should check out that, but not play with it, but just check it out.
And another tool that I think actually you may be a little bit more interested in, because I think for you like hardware tools that can interface with, let's say, with IR, with Wi-Fi. Have you ever seen the Flipper Zero?
Oh, that sounds.
So if you go to flipperzero.1, which is the website, and they have a nicely designed website.
I don't trust any of the thing that you're telling me right now.
No, this actually looks like if I was gonna. Well, this is a little bit more expensive too. But if I was gonna buy something for you,
I've
Tim,
seen this.
this is something that I would get for you, because I think you would have fun with this, because you also like to set up different devices around your home or outside to manage your animals. This could be a nice little testing device you could do to kind of interface with them.
Yeah, is it built on a Pi Zero or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know about the hardware internals, but it has a nice basically has a Wi-Fi sensor, an IR sensor, and then it has a nice kind of a interface, a digital
intercept signals, read NFC, pretend you're an NFC, read Bluetooth, all that kind of fun stuff.
This seems right down your alley.
You can learn protocols of different IR remotes and things like that. And I can see too. I'm looking at it right now. I have seen this before on the on the interface. They've got the GPIO pins like right there on the device, so you can kind of plug into a breadboard if you wanted to intercept signals that way. Yeah, that's really cool. That is really cool.
So like I was saying, I would probably use this tool to go around to my neighbors, try to open my neighbors' garage doors. You would do something a little bit more practical, seeing if you could turn your heaters on for your animals outside.
Yeah, but I like this. Yeah. You've got plenty of fun things that now you're building my list for me. How much is sold out? Of course it's sold out.
Of course sold out. But like it is something too, and you might not be able to get it for the holidays. Something you'll put in your long-term list. It'd be kind of a little fun kind of toy too. I can imagine this too. This would be a fun tool back when we were doing our hackathons.
Oh, this would be a cool thing to have.
This would either be a cool not present or award, like an award, or what's the word you'd use?
One of the prizes, yeah.
Prizes.
This would have been a great prize.
Yeah. Great prize. Or even if we just bought a few of these to kind of give out to groups who wanted to kind of play and experiment with them and see what they could create with them.
Well, I found the USB killer on Amazon. You
can buy directly from Amazon this USB drive that's going to kill your computer.
Yeah, it's it's designed as a testing thing is whatever it says. Yep. And there's different kits and stuff too. The concept's pretty easy, but don't stick that one in your computer. What else you got on your list? This is I'm finding all the things that I want now.
And we've talked about many times about both of our love of the Raspberry Pi. Do you know anywhere you can buy a Raspberry Pi?
Micro Center.
You can actually walk into a Micro Center and get one?
A lot of time you may need to check first to see if they're in stock, but Micro Center, the last time I was needing to buy some pies, which sounds weird because like it's just the day after Thanksgiving, and I'm talking about the last time I was needing to buy some pies. I'm pretty sure I found them on Micro Center, but you couldn't order them online. They only had them on they only had them in store
Mm.
and would only sell them in store for exactly that purpose. Because I mean, the issues with the Raspberry Pis are they're an affordable little computer that you can build other things on, but there's the like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of people that buy them then resell them as like kits and stuff like
know.
that. And
Well, if you go to Amazon, that's you'll see a markup of like $100-$200
from the
on these.
non-official sellers,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like there's a couple of kit vendors that are official resellers with the Pi Foundation, and those are usually priced accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're more expensive, like the Pi's, like what, it's a $35 price point, somewhere around there,
Or
depending on what
$50
you're
at
getting.
least. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Around
it
there.
depends on what
Yeah.
version you're getting. But
Yeah.
yeah, 35, 45, 55, somewhere in that range. And the kits follow that. Now, if they're more expensive, it's probably because they do have a breadboard and they have some components and things like that. But there's a couple of vendors that they are official vendors of the Pi Foundation, and they're not. It's not an exorbitant markup, and you're pretty much getting it for what it would cost. Again, sometimes they have kits that have extra stuff in it. But yeah, there's other ones. They're just selling them. They're raising the price incredibly. And with the chip shortage and everything, it was hard to get your hands on them. The things that I think are interesting about the Pis that I've not been able to explore just because I don't have the time to do it yet. But have you seen the compute modules?
The smaller, yeah, I haven't got into that, but I've seen the smaller versions of the Pi that you can basically build.
It's just the chip, yeah. And like no, I shouldn't say just the chip, but it's very bare bones components.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's these other boards, the compute boards that take that. Well, and they don't call them compute boards, but they're like the thing that the compute board can kind of plug into, and they're very specific. Like sometimes they're boards that already have a display built in, and some maybe some user interface, hardware, or they're boards that are just designed to control some motors or to be a Wi-Fi thing of some sort. So being able to create custom hardware to work with the Raspberry Pi and then have that compute module where you can just kind of slip it on, to me is fascinating. I would love to play with that from a design standpoint, to say, oh, we're going to build the thing, this hardware. It's going to require a Raspberry Pi to do this work, but it's not going to be you don't have to take a full Raspberry Pi and use the GPIO pins to kind of put it on plug it in onto the receiving board. It can be very trimmed down and just use the compute module. I think that's such a smart idea. I've just never had a chance to play with them yet, but I've seen some pretty cool. Again, I forget what they call the boards, but like those compute module boards that are project specifically. Like, oh, that's really cool to have a Raspberry Pi platform that is geared towards that specific use case. So
the last
Raspberry Pis. I would go to Micro Center.
The last one that I bought was from PiShop.us, which is a great website. It ships super fast.
That's the official site, right?
For the US, yeah, that's what you see on the right. Go to the Raspberry Pi organization website. They highlight them as the official supplier in the US. They're based out of Delaware. For us who are based on the East Coast, which is super nice. It's shipped like in 2 days. Last one I bought was the Raspberry Pi 400, the keyboard kit. So it was my first one. It is super nice. It's super nice. It's all built on one. It's fast. I could actually change the CPU frequency to overclock it, which is going to be kind of fun. And you can actually get a little more performance out of it. And it's actually been a really, really nice kind of kit that I could just experiment with and play with. Right, that kind of was actually the first thing that kind of got me back to Linux. Experimenting with the Raspberry Pi OS and then kind of playing with that a little bit, and then that got me back. Oh, I need to be back on this full time. But what my dream is, I want to set up, because I have a nice rack next where I have my down in my basement where I have the power breaker box. I have a nice, because with the house rebuild, I rewired the house with Ethernet. So I have it going into a switch where my cable modem is, into a nice switch on a rack that's built into there. It's hanging off the wall. And I have space for basically 2 more, spaces for if I want to put additional kind of server or some type of slide that in there. That I would love to build basically a rack, the setup with like 4 Raspberry Pis. And I see you could go
a cluster for
experiments
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Because I've seen on Amazon, you could buy the actual encasings for this.
Yeah.
You could basically fit like 4 Raspberry Pis in one blade, in a sense. And then you can just slide it in.
Yeah.
But I need the Raspberry Pis for this. So I think it would be great, because the blade is not that expensive. It's only like $100 or something like that for that. And then if I could get Raspberry Pis for like 4 for $50, then I could just for $200. I could have like a clustered server environment for, let's say, around $300 to $400, and that
Yeah,
actually is really cool. Would be fun to experiment with.
Right, because it's not like you're going to do like if you want the performance, buy something else.
Yeah.
But to play with distributed computing
Mm-hmm.
and being able to have actually 4 different separate nodes that are physically different computers and see how that works is a pretty cool thing.
And you could also do that now with like virtual box or virtual PC, and you could, set that up in a virtual environment. But to actually do that with physical hardware, as a real kind of test with like networking and to be able to kind of set that up yourself, I think would be a really fun thing.
Yeah, I've seen some people do stuff like that.
So I'm waiting for a Raspberry, like you said, but maybe I should just take a trip. Maybe I should give a call up to Micro Center, and maybe kind of.
I'm pretty sure they still limit you at Micro Center to like 1 per, but yeah.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to do multiple trips once every like a week or something like that. Spread this out over a month.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they track that, but yeah, last I was in there, you could find some, and it depended on stock. Like I wanted to get the Raspberry Pi microcontroller, and I think I had to wait. I don't think they had that in stock at the time, but Micro Center to me has been. It's been pretty good, even despite all the chip shortages and things like that. That's where I built my desktop. Probably going on 2 years almost now. So I've been, and not a sponsor of this podcast. You just mentioned that, not a sponsor of this podcast. But I am sure if you clicked around on YouTube long enough, you'll find someone who is sponsored by them, and they'll have a coupon to get a free USB key next time you go in. And that's better than the USB key you'll find in their parking lot, because that one you should probably be able to use.
Now, I love Micro Center was the first place besides computer shows at the Allentown fair.
The fairgrounds?
The
I've
fairgrounds.
not been there forever. Do they still have a computer show there?
I don't know if they still do, but I remember as a kid back in the late 80s, early 90s, when computer shows was the thing. That was a place that you wanted to go buy computer hardware for cheap. Because it actually there was a good price difference. So if you go buy from these vendors compared to buying it, online really didn't exist that much. But to actually go to like a computer store, like Circuit City or Radio Shack or something like that. It was
when there was a Radio Shack.
A good upcharge on that. So, but going to these computer stores, you actually could feel like you got a deal, and you could buy pieces too, which is something you couldn't do at a lot of the larger commercial vendors. You could actually just, if I want to buy a hard drive, buy a hard drive. If I want to buy a case, buy a CPU, motherboard, memory.
Right.
I could go to 20 different vendors, buy different things, and they all kind of work together. That was a really cool, fun experience to do, going to the fairgrounds to do that. But I did the same thing at Micro Center. It's another kind of similar experience. You are buying it from one place, but they give you a good variety of options that if you do want to build your own computer.
Their stock is so good, yeah.
And they even have which I don't know if I would do, because you and I like to do this from home, but they do have like a build your own area of the store, where if they'll give you the tools,
and they'll help you troubleshoot it too.
Yeah, and you can just put it together yourself on site.
Super cool if it's like the first time you've built a computer, you might want to do that.
Especially if you're taking, like, if you're a parent and you kind of want to get your kids in computers, but maybe you don't come from the area as much, you're not a professional in the area, that could also be a good experience to take your kid to. Say, okay, we got a little bit, we got a little bit of cash on the side. Let's just, be a good experience. You go on and give your kid a computer, well, have them build it.
Yeah, that I can definitely see the benefit of that. I have children behind me screaming. I don't know what's going on in there.
Talking about kids.
It's happy screams. They're probably building a computer. That's probably what happened.
And they're debating on what size of hard drive to put into it.
That's right. Always go bigger, guys, but make sure it's solid state. You don't want spinning disk. But no, I'm just thinking back kind of fondly when I built this desktop. It's been a long time since I built a computer, and it was good just to get in there and go through that. I did it over a couple days. Put the motherboard into the case and wire up some things. Get the video card in. Wait for the fan. Put a massive cooler on the CPU because that's what the cool kids do now. What I'd like to do, because my case is it's got plenty of room, and no longer do we have those super ATX, motherboards that took up everything. I've got tons of space. I've got hard drive bays that there's so many hard drive bays in there. And what do I have on this thing? I think I have 2 solid state drives that fit into the PCI the hard people that are more up to date on hardware are like, what are you talking about, Tim? But whatever the ones that they fit right in the main board.
It's the M2 slots.
Right. Yeah. I've got.
Dude,
for some reason I thought I had 2, but I think I only have 1.
Well, most modern motherboards will have at least 2. I think on mine I had 1 because I bought my last computer was from Alienware that I'm using now. But it has
Okay.
1 M.2 slots, and then I use the rest for SSDs. That gave me a good number of extensions for SSDs that I put in there. But at least
Yeah.
have 1. Every computer should have at least, like desktop computer should have at least 1 M.2 slots. But a lot of motherboards now come with 2, maybe even 3. But at least, this is an option. Definitely to run your primary OS and boot into. You should be doing that.
Yeah, because I have a 2 terabyte M2 drive.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, which is enough space, and it just runs right there, so it's as fast as it needs to be.
Yeah.
So I have got all these bays in here that I'm not using, right? Because I got 2 terabytes that are right on the motherboard. I would love to put Raspberry Pis in there and have like the cluster concept
interesting.
in my
That
desktop.
would be an interesting hack. That would be fun.
Because
I can see that.
or either that or things like Arduinos, and because I like playing with the embedded stuff, and I figure like if it was right there, I could. So, but
And that's
kind of
that's
my
where I
deal.
am with hardware too. Where like honestly, I mostly prefer to buy my hardware now too, just because of like time and just either buy a laptop or desktop computer. I'm happy to just buy that from a vendor that I like. But if I was going to be doing some of the hardware is with the Raspberry Pi. It's more like kind of the smaller devices, kind of getting into that because it's a little bit more experimental. Like if I'm going to be buying something I'm going to use primarily for software development, I kind of just want it to work out of the box. I don't really want to struggle with it too much. But I'd like your idea of you kind of integrating kind of embedded devices within your computer. That could be kind of an interesting thing to experiment with.
Yeah, I'd not done it yet, and again, I say that, and that's on many of my list of I want to use. Speaking of JetBrains and stuff like that, and not that we were but we talk about it enough. I'd like to use like Sea Lion to write code for Arduinos and the I forget what Raspberry Pi calls their microcontroller, but things like that. But having that development environment, something that is really close to me, really easy to get my hands on. The issue is if I stick it inside the machine, well, then it's not easy to get your hands on, right? And a lot of times you'd have to expose the GPIO port somehow.
Make sure there's some good cooling in there too, because they do put off a little bit of heat. You have to be a little bit careful
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah,
So.
that's true. That's true. What? Anything else on your list? We got a couple of
I
minutes
think
left.
we covered most of the items on my list that I've been thinking about. And I don't know if I'm going to get them this season, but it's definitely because most of them are sold out. That's the downside of the toys I
Already?
like.
Yeah.
That most of them, but I don't know. I may be getting a few Yubico keys like we talked about. So that's something I definitely want to integrate
Those
as part
I
of
like. I'm really happy with those. I'm looking at my Amazon wish list now, and it has so little about tech. A dust collector for woodworking. There's that. But couple things that are on. I don't know. I don't know if I'll get to them this year. It kind of actually. There's some things I got to do before it actually makes sense for me to do this. But my desk is designed to be a standing desk, so my keyboard will go up. But the problem is my monitors are so. I have so many of them. Honestly, somehow repositioning them to be standing is just it just doesn't work that way. So I want to get them in a nice fixed mount, and then get one of those kits to make a desk standing. Like I already have the swing keyboard, so I could stand up and swing the keyboard up, but get one of those kits that'll actually lift the entire desk. Like you see those nice, if you see it in the standing desk where you press a button, it kind of moves around. Now I have a nice desk that I built, and I don't want to replace the desk, but getting the frame that goes underneath it to make it a standing desk, that's kind of on my list of things to do eventually once I get my monitor situation a little bit more useful. The issue on that is some of my monitors are physically attached to the desk, and the booms and the arms that support them are on the desk. Others are on the wall. So if I lifted the desk, that would be a problem because they would stay where they are.
I think having a standing desk option, yes, that is a goal should be a goal for any developer. Until you get to be
nice.
Until you have until you're like me and have a standing desk, you use it for the first month and then you
never use it again.
It stays outside the sitting desk. I'm like, oh man, I just want to like sit down and relax.
Now, does your standing desk? Do you like lift it up or?
It's from IKEA, like most of my office furniture is, and so the IKEA standing desk, it's nice, automated, just goes up. Here, I can go. Like,
oh, okay, yeah. Those who are not watching the video, I'll tell you, his desk just went up and down. Okay, all right.
So, but it works nice, and it's well built. I like it. It's just a kind of simple flat surface with a nice frame underneath it.
I tell myself that the reason why I don't use it is because I can't readjust the monitors, but I don't know if I could. I think I would use it because there's a lot of times where I just want to stand up.
It is nice to have. So, well, Tim,
well,
I think we did well celebrating our Black Dev Friday together.
Yeah,
Black Friday, Dev Friday. And
did you even go shopping today? You didn't.
No, I'm not going to. I have some schoolwork I got to finish up on. Like I was talking about, I ran into some issues this week. I got some things I got to catch up on. So, but I am planning to take the kids out tomorrow. We're going to do a little shopping for mom tomorrow. Yes, we're going to do a little, trying to plan a little bit ahead. I think I would definitely recommend that for everybody. If you can start to chip away at it early and don't just be like me in the past of wait till Christmas Eve, I think it's a better plan.
Well, come back in a week for more dev and holiday content, because that's what we'll have all the way up to Christmas, folks.
'Tis the season.
Yes, the holiday dev content you're looking for right here on Dev Friday. Well, that was the show.
I like the bump. I guess that was the music you did overlaid over top the guy speaking, right?
Yeah.
And you just have like a longer clip of that.
Yeah.
Without him. Yeah, it's nice. A nice bumper.
All right, we're gonna end